You're 5 years old, you're standing in a shopping mall, and you've just worked out that your mother isn't there anymore. You're crying. An elderly woman in a blue coat leans down and asks if you're lost, and then your family comes running. If that landed as anything at all, a flicker, a texture, a color, there's something you should know. When researchers handed people that exact story, about a quarter of them didn't just accept it. They remembered it. It never happened to any of them. This is Mind the Gap. Today, false memory, the strangest result in the study of the human mind and the place where nearly every explanation of it stops one step too early. Start in 1974 with a psychologist named Elizabeth Loftus and her colleague John Palmer. They sat 45 students down and showed them 7 short films of traffic accidents. Real driver's education footage borrowed from the Evergreen Safety Council and the Seattle Police Department. 5 to 30 seconds each. Then they asked everyone the same question, almost, about how fast were the cars going when they hit each other. Except one group got smashed, another got collided, another got bumped, and another got contacted. Same films, same crash, one word different. Here's what came back. Ask with contacted, and people said the cars were doing about 32 miles an hour. Hit 34, bumped 38, collided 39, and smashed 41. 9 miles an hour, out of nowhere. Nobody watched a faster crash. They just got asked a heavier word. And while we're here, a detail almost nobody mentions. 4 of those 7 crashes were staged at speeds the researchers already knew. One was filmed at 20 miles an hour. The average guess for that one was nearly 38. Almost double. We are, it turns out, catastrophically bad at this before anyone opens their mouth. But there's an obvious objection here, and Loftus and Palmer got to it before any critic did. It's sitting right there in their own paper. Maybe nothing happened to anyone's memory at all. Maybe the word just nudged the guess. You genuinely don't know whether it was 30 or 40. Someone says smashed, you feel like you're supposed to say a bigger number, so you say a bigger number. Your memory is untouched. You were only being agreeable. That's a boring explanation. It's also a completely reasonable one. So they built a second experiment to kill it. 150 new students this time, 1 film of a multi-car pileup. The crash itself lasts 4 seconds. 50 got asked the smashed question, 50 got hit, and 50 weren't asked about speed at all. Then everyone went home. A week later they came back, didn't watch the film again, and answered 10 questions about it. Buried in that list, in a random position, was this one. Did you see any broken glass? There was no broken glass, not a fragment, not anywhere in that film. First, the speed answers, given on the day. This was a gentler crash than the ones in the first study, and the numbers came back small. The hit group averaged 8 miles an hour, the smashed group 10.5. Hold on to those 2 numbers, they matter in about 90 seconds. Now the glass. A week later, in the control group, the people never asked about speed, 12% said yes. They saw broken glass. Call that the background rate of a human being quietly filling in a car crash. The hit group, 14%. The smashed group, 32%. One verb, 7 days earlier, and a third of them are now looking at glass on a road that never had any. This has a name, the misinformation effect. Information that turns up after an event, quietly rewriting the event. And now watch Loftus and Palmer shut down their own objection. If smashed worked only by inflating the speed number, the boring explanation, then the effect should evaporate the moment you account for speed. 2 people who both guessed 9 miles an hour ought to report glass at the same rate, whatever verb they heard. Their memories are identical, only the word was different. They don't. At every speed estimate, the smashed people still see more glass. Take everyone who guessed somewhere between 6 and 10 miles an hour, the band both groups landed in. In the hit group, 9% report glass. In the smashed group, 27, same speed. 3 times the glass, so the word isn't just bending a number, it's reaching past the number, into the picture. This is where the story usually stops, and where the explanation you've probably heard takes over. It goes like this. Memory isn't a recording. Every time you remember something, you don't play the file, you rebuild it, and you save the rebuild over the original. So your memory of your 10th birthday is a copy of a copy of a copy, losing a little more each time. That version is everywhere. It's elegant. It's mostly right. And there's one experiment that shows it isn't nearly strange enough. First though, 1995, Loftus, working with Jacqueline Pickrell. They went to the families of 24 people and collected 3 true stories from each person's childhood. Then they wrote a 4th one themselves. The mall, age 5, crying, the elderly woman, the reunion. And they handed all 4 to the participant as though a relative had confirmed everyone. About a quarter of them remembered it. Not sure, that sounds familiar. Remembered it. Meanwhile, of the events that had actually happened to them, they remembered about 68%, which is the detail worth sitting with. The invented afternoon didn't arrive as some faint flickering maybe. It arrived looking like the rest of their childhood. That study was replicated in 2023. Bigger, pre-registered, done properly. It held 35% that time. But be fair to the critics for a moment, because they have a real point. How do you actually know none of those people were ever lost in a mall? Children get lost. Loftus herself later conceded that the study never controlled for it. So maybe you didn't implant a memory at all. Maybe you just reminded somebody of a bad afternoon their mother never knew about. It's a genuine hole. And it's exactly why the next study is the one that matters. Because there's a way to close it completely. Don't suggest something that might have happened. Suggest something that couldn't. In 2002, Catherine Braun, Rhiannon Ellis and Loftus showed people a fake Disney advert. Warm, nostalgic. The kind that talks to you in the second person. Remember when you were a kid? Remember shaking his hand? The character in the advert was Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny is a Warner Brothers character. He has never been at Disneyland. He cannot be at Disneyland. He belongs to a competitor. And they were careful about it. Anyone who'd been to Six Flags was thrown out of the study because Bugs does turn up there. 16% of the people who saw that advert went on to say they remembered shaking hands with Bugs Bunny at Disneyland. Not might have. Remembered. And that's where the copy of a copy story runs out. Because a copy still descends from something. It's a story about decay. About an original wearing out. But there was no original here. No handshake. No rabbit. No possible afternoon on which it could have happened. You cannot degrade a photograph you never took. So decay isn't the mechanism. Your brain built something out of material that came from somewhere else entirely and handed it to you as a memory. Loftus and Palmer wrote that mechanism down in 1974, and almost nobody quotes the part that counts. 2 kinds of information go into a memory, they said. The first is what you took in while it was happening. The second is whatever arrived afterwards. Over time, the 2 integrate. And then, in their words, we are unable to tell from which source some specific detail is recalled. All we have is one memory. They were describing a leading question in a lab. But look at what qualifies as that second source. A question does it. An advert did it to Bugs Bunny. Your sister's version of it at dinner does it. One memory, no seam, no receipt. Your brain doesn't label which parts it witnessed and which parts it was handed. It gives you the finished thing and lets you believe you were there. Which is why the useful thing here isn't don't trust your memory. You can't run a life like that. It's narrower and it's sharper. Confidence isn't evidence, not in other people and not in you. The Bugs Bunny people weren't hedging. The mall people weren't guessing. It felt precisely like remembering, because it was remembering. That's the whole problem. A built memory and a true one are made of the same material, and they arrive through the same door. So the next time you're certain, really certain, about something years ago you've retold 100 times, it's worth asking the only honest question available. How much of this did I witness? And how much of it did someone hand me? If that question is uncomfortable, you're in the right place. This is Mind the Gap, a very small channel that makes one of these every few days, about the parts of your mind that don't announce themselves. Subscribing is the whole reason the next one gets made. And that woman in the blue coat, the one who leaned down and found you in the mall when you were 5, she was never there either.